I base a lot of my decisions on messages from God. This sounds so schizo, it's awesome. Like, it's not like something every, like, crazy person would say. Like, I get messages from God, and I follow them. But I do. So, like, I'm walking around my house just now. I had to go out anyway. But I was thinking, like, I was thinking about something that I had kind of figured out, or was shown by the veil. And I was like, yeah, I should probably do a video about that, huh? I'm thinking about it. And I go over to get my phone in the microwave. And my microwave, the time isn't set up. It's just, you know, it's all, the number's all fucked up like most people's microwaves. When I was a kid, it was always the VCR that was doing this. It's always blinking some kind of number that makes no sense. And I went over to get my phone, and it was 333. And I'm like, all right, decision made. So the veil continues to reveal things. And as I was talking about the other day, it's not just like stuff like Michelle Obama's penis. It will show you like the meaning behind more complex situations or whatever. And in this case, I was watching a YouTuber who was doing a thing about Logan Paul. And Logan Paul was fighting with his friend, the guy that's on his podcast. The only time I see that Logan Paul is when people making videos about some awful shit he did. So I don't know much about him except that he has a lot of young fans and that he's always like fucking up. But he's fighting with his someone from his show or whatever, his podcast, who is a Christian, and he's like making fun of him for it. You know, like, you know, so just saying this terrible shit about Jesus and you know, whatever. And then he makes this point, and the kid's like, well, why can't you just, you know, why do you have to keep on me about it? And he started talking about the LGBT thing, and he's like, I never said anything about, you know, anything bad about gay people. And he was like, yeah, but your religion or your church or your people do. There's an awful lot of bad people in your crew or your group or something. And that just kind of, I just saw it all. And like, this is how they're gonna kill Christians. You know what I mean? I saw it. I'm like, this is how they're gonna do it. Because I've always heard, like, and I'll explain how in a minute, but I've always heard the thing even before I was like into God or anything. I was a complete atheist. I still have the fedora, and I still wear it occasionally because I fucking look cool in it. But yeah, and then once I came around to it, and you know, it came through circumstances. I'd always hear a lot about how they, you know, want to kill Christians, or at some point in the narrative. I used to hear about that before I was in the religion, not into God or anything. I used to hear about how they're going to be persecuted at one point, and you know, be killed. And I used to wonder, like, it didn't, like, I didn't think it was impossible, but I was always kind of curious. I'm like, how is that going to happen? You know, the killing of Christians. Like, are they going to go door to door? Like, what the fuck? How would you even, what's the logistics of that? I just couldn't see it happening. I mean, I definitely thought it was possible because, I mean, you know how things go. Excuse me. Oh my God, I just drank an energy drink. It's fucking killing me. So, as I'm watching him tearing to his friend about it, and he goes into the concept of, when he said a lot of people in the group you're in, or however he put it, the boat you're on, you have bad people there. I was like, oh, here's the way they're gonna do it. What they're gonna do is have all this, you know how they've been doing all this the messaging over the past, you know, since 2016. They've been riding that hard. What they're gonna do is use the Christians' idea of being against homosexuality as a danger to society, and they'll be pretty much put in the same group as domestic teas, which is what they're trying to do now. But if you follow Christ or you're Christian, you'll be labeled like a domestic T. You'll be like a danger to society. And there's a whole thing about how I got there in my head. Like when I see these things, when I see these situations, it's hard to kind of put into words because you see it as a complete thing. I hate to use the IKEA furniture thing, but it's like how you see stuff, how you can see situations. I always use the example that it's like getting the IKEA furniture box, you know? Well, I don't know if that's how they do it, but whatever. You get a box of the furniture and, you know, the shitty furniture, and it has directions on how to put like the TV stand together or whatever the fuck you're making. And being able to see a situation is like seeing all the directions already in your head, so you don't have to look at them even. You just look at a pile of pieces and go, oh, I know how this goes together. That's kind of what happens with situations. You'll just get like the blueprint will download into your head. So it'll start like with people like that, like celebrity kind of people, who will start kind of openly making fun of, mocking, and saying it's a bad thing, saying if you are a Christian, you're a bad person because they don't like gays. Like he's going to, oh, they have conversion therapy, and they'll get more of their kind of people, celebrities or whatever, to start openly challenging it and make it popularized. If it isn't already, it kind of already is. I mean, you see how people react to certain, even people in their own group, like the celebrities that have said they were Christian, always get attacked in social media spaces. So it's already kind of happening. But what will happen is they have to kind of get the public into it first. And all this messaging isn't for the message itself. The end result is always for it to be turned against Christians. That's all this is about. It's all this is about. It's the beast wanting to take down as much of the divine as he can, because he's dying. It's going down, you know. The beast is dying. He can't win. He can't win the ultimate fight. There's no fucking way. So he's trying to take as much as he can with him. So anyway, to try to fucking speed this idea up a bit, eventually it'll lead to Christians being lumped in with domestic T's, like they're a danger to society. You know, they hate LGBT. We have to protect our LGBT people in our community, and all these other, you know, they'll use that. It'll probably be more than the LGBT thing, but they'll use it to as a sort of like a blueprint to do that in every other direction, that and just kind of make them a danger to society. You know, they'll say that, you know, we these people have to be treated in the same way that a domestic T would be treated, you know? So as usual, I'm kind of explaining this retarded and shitty, but I hope you get the idea of what I'm saying. This is how they're going to demonize Christians. In this way, they're going to label them as a problem. Like, hey, how you doing, man? What's going on? How are things? Good? Good, man. Another nice day. I'll see you soon, bud. So they're going to be labeled in the way a domestic T would be labeled. Like they had to be taken out of society. And then you end up, however they do it in some kind of list or whatever, in the same way they would have a domestic T list. And then you end up at a camp, and then you have the Freemason guy with the apron at the guillotine waiting for you. That's where it's going. And that's how they're going to do it. Because I knew there was always going to be the Freemason fag with the apron at the guillotine eventually. I made jokes about that before. Getting Alice Coopered. And that's no problem. I have no problem with that. You know, that's not a fate that I try to worm my way out of. I mean, I always say, like, I don't call myself a Christian. And the reason I don't is just because I don't want to hear it from other Christians. But I've wrestled with that a lot too. It's like, well, just fucking say it. You know, don't worry about it. You're going to have to show your allegiance. And what, are you embarrassed of God? You know, what the fuck's wrong with you? And who cares? There's always going to be people that are going to have something to say. And those Bible lawyers and churchians will always try to Christ check you, like at a purity spiral. You know, you call yourself a Christian, but they use that as a weapon. You know, when you self-label in that way, it's then used as a weapon to metaphorically hit you about the head and neck. And so I've always tried to avoid it. But I'm a follower of Christ, you know. I know he's real because I see how demonic entities react when you bring up his name. They get scared. They'll leave the area. And I used to see that happen before I even thought he was real. And even still, I don't know historically what to believe about him. Or if it's a him at all or an idea. But Christ is real. You know? And that's where my allegiance lies. And like I remember saying this like not long ago, like, you know, eventually the day will come when, you know, you'll have to ask if you know, when you're online at the guillotine and they get the bolt gun in the gay little apron and they ask you if you follow Christ, and you will have to say, you know, I am he. And then you know, you lose your head, so what? Your body's nothing. This body and this little shit show here, this is nothing. This is a little, tiny little blip. It's just a place you are right now. Your body is just the means to interact with this area. You know, I mean, it helps to try to, you know, keep it in good condition, because you do have to, you know, you do suffer if it's not in good shape. I mean, you do, those problems can affect the real you, because your energy is tied to it through the central nervous system. So it has an effect on you, the real you, which is an energy being. You're connected to it, which kind of sucks. You know, as much as you're broadcasting to it, you're not really it. It still affects you. Like if something were to happen to the body, it puts you in a bad mood, right? But when it comes down to making a choice to follow the soft-handed piano player and his crap and his degeneracy and fucking horror, or if you're with, you know, Team God, I mean, come on, there is no choice there. You know, you know, I'll jump the line. I'll jump the fucking line. But that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's how they're gonna get you to the guillotine. That's how they're gonna get you there. By demonizing people who follow Christ, then basically outlawing people for following Christ, because you'll be seen as a danger to society because of what they claim the attitudes are toward LGBT people. And those attitudes are there, you know, for a reason. And the reason is there is no growth. When you put your dick in a man's ass, that's entropy. You can't create life out of that. You can't have children from that. That's a genetic dead end right there. So yes, of course it's against God. It's anti-God. It is you know, an abomination. Not in his eyes, but if you believe in God and you're part of the divine, why would you want to stop moving that divinity around. I mean, it's not, the point is to, you know, that's a dead end. And it is very true that, well, I don't know how far I want to get into this. I don't want to let my personal experiences color my feelings about things. But yeah, I mean, you can't dodge the fact that Christ wouldn't really be too, I don't know if he wouldn't be, but God is definitely not in their corner. And they're not in God's corner. For as much as they say, like, you know, how they, you know, Christians are terrible because they don't like, LGBT people would fucking blow Christians up in a second. You know, they'd nuke them in a second. They hate them just as much. So it's like, you know, fucking touche. So that's how they're going to do it, in my opinion. This is what I saw, you know. This is, whatever you want to call it, like a vision or, I don't know. I guess that's what they are, these things. What I found to be things like this that would be considered supernatural, like when you used to hear about stuff like that, like that, you know, having a vision or something, like, just for instance, having a vision. You always think of some kind of mystical thing where you're looking and, you know, some kind of energy vortex opens in front of your eyes, and it's like the Palantir from Lord of the Rings. It's not like that at all. Most supernatural, air quote, kind of experiences are not like that at all, in my, you know, in my experience. Like the talking to angels and talking to demons and stuff, it's all very subdued. It's not like it's not the kind of experience you think it would be. Do you know what I mean? So in the same way, seeing these visions or getting these ideas are the same thing. You know, it's the same kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I can beat this into the ground 10 different ways, but I'm not going to do that. Excuse me, I'm going to spare you. But yeah, that I don't know if that made any sense, that explanation. Maybe I'll come back with them more. Maybe I'll go home and think about this more, and then give you a take that's not super retarded and all over the place. But I just wanted to get it down while it was fresh in my mind. And plus the microwave told me to do it. So, you know, you're stupid if you follow the TV and the media. You're supposed to listen to the microwave. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.